Chapter 3. Tail of the tape now for the second battle between Barrera and Morales, and you'll see the 3-year age advantage for the Tijuana fighter. 1 inch in height, 2 inches in reach. They both weighed in at the featherweight limit of 126 pounds. By the time they reached the ring, Morales unofficially had gone up to 137, Barrera to 134. It was a raucous, near sellout crowd in the MGM Grand Garden Arena as we awaited the sound of the opening bell.
Back at their incredible battle on February 19, 2000, which set the stage for tonight's action. At the time, Morales was a 3-1 favorite entering the fight. There were many more questions about Marco Antonio Barrera, but he made his statement early. Early assault from the Mexico City star. Both fighters delivered powerful blows in the center of the ring in the first 2 or 3 rounds of the fight. And then suddenly in round 5, the competition escalated to another level. First it was Erik Morales who took over and seemed to dominate. And suddenly at center ring, Morales takes over the fight with his right hand. But then Marco Antonio Barrera turned the tables using his trademark left hook to the body and then flurrying upstairs. It was one of the great rounds in the recent history of the sport. All the way through the end of round 7, they traded shots toe-to-toe. Unbelievable action. And as they went to the latter stages of the fight, Erik Morales seemed somewhat exhausted in his corner, having fought to get his weight down to 122 pounds. Barrera's left eye swelling badly, and there was more. Over the years, there have been some unforgettable matchups between great Mexican fighters. This will stand the test of comparison with any of them. Two left hooks by Barrera, and Morales is wobbled. Morales using the ropes to steady himself, almost went down. And there's the first knockdown of Erik Morales' career. And that could be the difference in the fight. With Barrera bleeding below the eye, with Morales seemingly at sometimes out on his feet, both fighters gave everything they had right up until the final bell. Surely one of the most memorable fights in the sport in the modern history of boxing in the lower weight classes. And then the decision. A jubilant Morales celebrating a split decision by the narrowest of margins, but a fascinating reversal, because most ringside observers have said ever since in the intervening 2.5 years that it was Barrera, in fact, who won the fight. And that sets, Larry, an interesting psychological landscape up. Here's the incentive for Erik Morales. He's still unbeaten, 41-0. He has a win over Marco Antonio Barrera on his record, and almost nobody says that he won the fight.
It seems like a defeat to him. And we do have to recall that Barrera, who had once been regarded as the logical successor to Julio Cesar Chavez as the next great Mexican fighter, had fallen almost out of view after his 2 defeats by Junior Jones. So what he did in this fight added to the drama because it was so unexpected. And Morales went away diminished in some way, despite the fact that he had a controversial victory, and Barrera came away elevated despite the fact that he had a controversial loss.
And as to why the fight was fought on such savage toe-to-toe terms, George Foreman, both fighters said afterward that they felt the need of Mexican fans to see that kind of drama in the fight, and they wanted to satisfy it. A professional instinct?
I don't think so. You'll say anything after a fight is over. I've been in that position. It was a great fight, seldom seen. Let's hope that they can duplicate it tonight.
Well, I think a lot of us expect, certainly we'll talk more to George about this later, that maybe they'll try for a more tactical path in this, their second fight. But sometimes lightning strikes twice. A live look at Erik Morales, Tijuana's own, representing the culture and the feel of Tijuana as he goes against Marco Antonio Barrera, who grew up in an entirely different ethos, an entirely different background in the upper middle class suburbs of Mexico City. That as well, part of the confrontation in the fight. Let's go back upstairs to James Brown.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. And just a reminder, just about 13 minutes at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, the fighters will, in fact, be walking out. And it's interesting that Jim Lampley mentioned that perhaps we should expect a more tactical fight by Morales and Barrera this time. It will be contrary to at least what both fighters have indicated to us in the fighter meetings, that they feel the pressure to duplicate what they did back on February 19th, 2000. Well, as a matter of fact, on February 19th, 2000, Erik Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera staged a fight memorable for its artistry and savagery. In a toe-to-toe battle for 12 intense rounds, both men showed courage, will, and a refusal to yield in a way which has the sport of boxing still buzzing. Let's take a look back at that fight and show you why the rematch is so widely anticipated. Tonight, Erik Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera find themselves fighting for something more than just a championship. This time, it's personal. Fellow countrymen, but opposites in every other way. It's affluent Mexico City versus the tough streets of Tijuana. The classic stand-up boxer versus the body-punching slugger.
There is no pretense of defense in this ring.
Few fights match the kind of intensity that occurred when Morales and Barrera met the first time.
This is special.
Considered the fight of 2000 by most ring observers,
Here comes Morales. Here comes Barrera.
both men inflicted damage through the first 11 rounds.
This is the primal beauty of true prize fighting.
A late flurry in the 12th seemed to give the challenger the edge.
I think Barrera won it. I think Barrera won it.
But when the judges saw it differently, both men's careers changed in an instant. Since then, critics say Morales has looked less confident, showing enough skill to pull off narrow decisions, but without his old swagger.
How many more wars can Erik Morales go through?
At the same time, Barrera has looked sensational, knocking out seasoned contenders and emerging as the man to beat after a decisive win over Nassim Hamed.
Big left hand by Barrera inside. Stuns Prince Nassim.
Tensions have run high leading up to this event. Name-calling led to an early press conference brawl. But now comes the moment of truth. Who will become the pride of Mexico? Will Barrera continue his recent dominance, or will Morales rise to the occasion and show why he's still an undefeated champion? One thing is for sure. After tonight, both men's lives will never be the same.
Now it's time for our main event. Erik Morales against Marco Antonio Barrera for the second time. 2 years ago, these men fought their 12-round thriller at 122 pounds. Now they face each other at 126. Which man feels more comfortable with the extra 4 pounds? Will it matter? We'll get the answer in just a few moments from now. Morales versus Barrera is being brought to you by MGM Grand, the city of entertainment. Brewery Fresh Budweiser, the undefeated king of beers, this buzz for you. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by the folks at HBO. The Mexican supporters of Erik Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera are as different as the fighters themselves. Morales from Tijuana represents a contrasting segment of the population than Barrera from Mexico City. Economics, culture, personalities, and the first fight have created a rivalry between the two fighters and their fans.
Both sides are out in full force tonight. As we take a look at the crowd here getting set for this match, we welcome you back upstairs once again as we get set for the main event. James Brown along with Emmanuel Stewart. And Emmanuel, there's no question that both fighters generally have a pretty excellent track record, but as we saw in that fight package, a little difference in the way each fighter has gone. Morales not as impressive, Barrera very impressive. Why? What's the difference?
Well, everybody's body is different, and everybody reacts different from a brutal fight. Evidently, Barrera was not affected as much as Morales. But the one thing that still makes Morales be so dangerous in a fight, particularly when it comes down to a decision, is the fact that Morales throws a lot of punches. He throws a lot of punches, and even when he's hurt or when he's tired, maybe just think that he's maybe losing a fight, he starts throwing punches, and that's why he gets a lot of his close decisions.
Now, you know, we heard Jim Lampley talk about perhaps we might see some different tactics employed in this fight here. But listening to the fighters, as I mentioned a few moments ago, it's like it's almost expected to be a slugfest. Again, Barrera says, this fight is so big, I don't think that I can show all that I can do because the fight fans expect a war. Is that what you expect?
I think it may start off for a few seconds civilized, and it may not even start off that way. But undoubtedly, it's going to end up being a slugfest because both guys' machoism and dislike for each other, and the fact that they both pretty much welcome having a slugging match from listening to their conversations, mean that there's going to be some slugging going on tonight.
You know, oftentimes I know it's used only as hype talking about the dislike, but folks, it's intense and deep. All right, folks, for the national anthems, let's check in the ring with Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. At this time, would everyone please rise as we will have two national anthems. First of all, here to sing the Mexican national anthem, please welcome Nico Flores.
Por sumamente respeto, vamos a entonar el himno nacional mexicano. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero aprestad y el bridor. Y retiemble tu centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiemble tu centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Ciño patria, tus sienes de oliva, de la paz del arcángel divino, que en el cielo tu eterno destino por el dedo de Dios escribió. Mas si osar de un extraño enemigo profanar con sus alas su aliento, si el clarín con su bélico acento nos convoca a lidiar con valor, un soldado en cada hijo te dio. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero aprestad y el bridor. Y retiemble tu centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiemble tu centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Patria, patria, tus hijos te juran exhalar de tus alas su aliento. Si el clarín con su bélico acento nos convoca a lidiar con valor. Para ti las guirnaldas de oliva, un recuerdo para ellos de gloria, un laurel para ti de victoria, un sepulcro para ellos de honor, un sepulcro para ellos de honor. Mexicanos a grito de guerra, el acero aprestad y el bridor. Y retiemble su centro la tierra al sonor o rugir del cañón. Y retiemble su centro la tierra al sonor o rugir del cañón. ¡Viva México! ¡Y échale Barrera Morales! ¡Sale!
Y ahora, damas y caballeros, and now, ladies and gentlemen, here to sing the national anthem of the United States, please welcome recording artist Erik.
All right, give it up for America. Yeah! God bless America. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over the ramparts we watch as so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave. Give it up. God bless America.
Well, with the housekeeping now done, the stage is set for the rematch. Morales and Barrera back downstairs to our guys, Big George Foreman, Larry Merchant, and our anchor, Jim Lampley.
All right, thank you very much, JB. You've seen it in the movies, you've seen it in books, you've seen it in every art form known to man, Larry. The sequel is rarely as exciting as the original. Can this one be?
Improbable, but what other choice do they really have? Morales and Barrera are locked in some kind of mortal embrace. Both of them can box, but the goddess of success and love in their culture requires them to put it all out there, to take all the risks to win her hand, to leave something of themselves, some piece of themselves on the battlefield when it's all over. And that's exactly what happened 2.5 years ago. And although many fighters never fully recover from such brutal punishment, it isn't even a question tonight. They must recover. They have to recover. They have no choice.
That's because the public demands it, as they themselves have both acknowledged. George, professional fighters like you can't help but be impressed with the courage that it takes to fight the way these guys fought 2.5 years ago. But professional fighters know better than anybody what it takes out of your body and your soul to have a fight like that. Is the money they're getting tonight, $1 million apiece, worth the risk that they descend into hell again?
No, you gave it all you had, and you expect you had to give it all because you had nothing else to show them. Barrera has matured. He's going on to be an excellent boxer. Let's hope now that we can see some skill. Of course, Morales has always been an excellent boxer. We would like to see him do something to execute it tonight. Let's see a great boxing match. We know they can fight, but my money is on a skillful fight tonight, boxing match.
It's their choice to make, as George points out, because both of them have the skill to fight tactically if they choose.
They got it, but let's see a real skilled, pound for pound, good boxing match tonight.
Well, the crowd wants what they saw 2.5 years ago.
Sangre.
They may get it. Tail of the tape now for Erik Morales against Marco Antonio Barrera. And you see the 3-year age advantage for Morales. 1 inch taller, 2 inches more reach. They both weighed in right at the 126-pound weight limit. Remember the original fight, was at 122 pounds. And by tonight, unofficially on our HBO scale, Marco Antonio Barrera has put on 8 pounds to get to 134. Erik Morales is all the way up to 137. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
Here's a look at their activity in the first fight. Morales more active, Barrera more accurate, both in total punches, as you see here, as well as the power punches right here. So you can see how close that fight was, despite the controversial nature of the decision.
And rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Erik El Terrible Morales Marco Antonio Barrera fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim!
In a mini replay of the unusual circumstances of Memphis 2 weeks ago, virtually every element of what happens here had to be negotiated. The contract states that Marco Antonio Barrera gets to leave the dressing room and come into the ring first. Morales will be introduced first in the ring. This was important to Barrera.
One of the interesting things of this cerebral warrior is that in his mind, he is not fighting for some sanctioning body's belt tonight, for somebody other's version of a championship. He refused to take the belt that is up for grabs tonight. He feels, I'm the best featherweight in the world. Nobody has to give me a belt to prove it.
Could that backfire against him if the decision goes to the judges?
Well, there is one official here from that sanctioning organization. We'll have to watch that. But against that, Jim, we have to remember that there may be sentiment on his side tonight because of what happened the last time. Barrera walks into the ring tonight almost a 2-to-1 favorite, a 3-to-1 underdog 2.5 years ago. Perhaps his victory over Prince Ahmed had much to do with this.
So the Mexico City contingent is on hand. Next up, El Norte de Tijuana. There's been a lot of bad blood, hard words between the two fighters. In the last couple of weeks, Barrera has tried to back off somewhat from all the rhetoric. But Morales keeps pressing forward, saying, I don't like him, I don't like the way he behaves, I want to give him the beating he deserves in the ring.
And he's not that tough or brave, despite what he experienced a couple of years ago.
Morales in a fascinating motivational position. He's the one who got the W 2.5 years ago. He's the one with the unbeaten record, and yet virtually no ringside expert will say that he won the fight.
And he has had to help him along spiritually. Chavez in his camp for this fight, while Barrera has had Ruben Oliveras. In American terms, that's like having Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali along, because they are the great legendary figures of Mexican boxing.
Later, after the fight of the century, they're ready to do it again. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, Let's get ready for the main event. The moment we've all been waiting for, the rematch. 12 rounds of boxing for the true and legitimate featherweight championship of the world. Brought to you by Top Rank Incorporated and Forum Boxing Incorporated in association with your undisputed king of beers, Budweiser. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission Chairman Dr. Luther Mack. The 3 judges assigned to ringside scoring this contest on the 10-point must system are Dwayne Ford, Chuck Jampa, and Mike Liana. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Jay Nady. And now, the 2 best featherweights in the world are in the ring. And soon, only one will be the very best. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with silver and officially weighing in at 126 pounds. His professional record is a perfect one, consisting of 41 bouts, 41 victories, including 31 knockouts and 2 world titles. Damas y caballeros, de la zona norte, Tijuana, Mexico, the 2-time world champion, the undefeated WBC featherweight champion of the world, Erik El Terrible And across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing silver with blue letters and officially weighing 126 pounds. His professional record stands at 54 victories, including 39 knockouts with only 3 defeats. And he is rated by the experts as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world today. From Ciudad de Mexico, the 3-time world champion, recognized as the People's Featherweight World Champion, the baby-faced assassin, Marco Antonio Barrera.
Good, clean fight. What is worth it? Good work.
2 weeks ago in Memphis, we had a great event. Tonight in Las Vegas, we are looking forward to a great fight.
Not much sweat on Morales at all.
Very dry.
Face is warm, legs got grease, Vaseline. Barrera looked nice, wet on the chest. He's had a sweat going.
And Barrera holds up a glove to salute Morales from across the ring. Erik simply ignores him. They go to work. Morales' attack primarily over the top. His most dangerous punch, the overhand right. Barrera traditionally relies on the left hook to the body. In recent years, he's added an excellent jab and a strong counter right hand.
Morales has always been an outstanding boxer who always finds himself in hard fights. Need not, he's got an excellent left jab, right hand in corners. His problem is when he backs away, he gets caught. Never learn to circle when you're doing. Deliver your shots and circle to the left or to the right.
Let's see if Morales can do a better job of backing away at angles in this fight. Already, they have boxed in a more disciplined fashion for the first minute of the fight than was the case for any minute of the fight 2.5 years ago. Now Barrera goes forward behind the right hand.
this is a stand-up boxing match as is now. Morales can get the best of it. Keeps your balance, keep your height and your jab.
There's the first left hook to the body by Barrera. No question, fighting at distance, Erik Morales ought to have the advantages.
That's why he had the odds favored him in the first time around. He's an excellent boxer. Now stick to your game plan.
But he stands up so straight that he seems to have a big target area.
No, you can't hit him up there unless you drop your waist just a little bit as he's doing there. Weave and bobbing is causing the problem.
Very tactical first round. Mexican fans may not believe what they're watching between these two guys. It's so completely at odds with any round they fought 2.5 years ago. Now they begin to engage a little bit more closely. Now Barrera gets the left hand to the body and begins to shorten the distance between himself and Morales.
If you're Barrera, you want to get those left hooks to the body. Very important early on because this guy Morales got the better footwork. He bounces in circles. Take his legs away.
Morales landed one shot a little below the waistline. Barrera ignored it. Referee Jay Nady didn't see it. Good head movement in the early going by Morales.
Barrera is making Morales make the fight.
That's a mistake on Morales' part. You don't want to go charging after this guy.
But he does, and lands a right hand. Hard right hand to the top of Barrera's head by Morales. Those two right hands in the last 20 seconds may well have given Erik Morales the first round. When we go to the corners, where they speak Spanish in both corners, our interpreter is Ray Torres.
Very intelligent. Okay, you made a miss. Yeah, place yourself a little bit more angle-wise, a little sideways, and work your jab. You got to counter punch. You come out and don't have your hands so wide open. We got all the condition in the world. We need to do everything. You did well. You got a great round. The fight is yours. This is your night.
CompuBox numbers in round one, pretty equal. Morales 12 out of 39, Barrera 13 out of 43. Slow pace. Average round for featherweights, 57 punches. In the first fight, Morales was often throwing more than 70, sometimes 80 or 90 punches per round. Barrera fought at the slower pace. Maybe that hurt him when the judge's decision was announced.
Morales got his hands up high. That discourages Barrera always. Keep your hands up, and he just can't see where to throw.
Barrera blocking Morales' shots with his gloves as Erik chases him back. Still Barrera making Morales make the fight. Now he steps forward and drives a right hand through the guard. And a right hand to the body by Barrera as well.
You know, you get into a fight with a mad and you get a conscious of some superiority, and then you come back to the ground. Morales is not a mad. You're going to have to take it to him. He's not going to allow for you to box and play with him.
Ahmed against Barrera was a counterpuncher with nothing to counter. Morales wants to attack. Barrera is shortening the distance again and now starting to get to the body. Big left hook upstairs by Marco Antonio Barrera.
Stop. Don't punch on the break.
Now Morales starts to jab to the body.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. You take some of the steam out of that balloon, jab to the body.
Blood on the nose of Erik Morales.
There are bruises on the nose and under his right eye already.
Couple of body shots landing for Morales there.
Sangra, the first blood.
right on the bridge of the nose. Maybe the product of that big left hook that Barrera landed. Morales reaching to throw over the top. Barrera again gets the left hook in. Not a lot of sock on that one. Hard right hand left by Morales in close. They nearly butt heads as Barrera ducked to get out of the way. Once again, as was the case against Prince Nassim, Barrera seems to be measuring his punches, content to box rather than to slug.
You did well. You did well. You did real good. Look how you left him. You got to keep the double jab. That's what's going to do it. That's going to get in. It's okay. Nothing's happening. You got to work a little bit more. You got to prepare the right hand and then throw it. Combination, 3-4 punches. Next round, just keep working and move your waist a little bit. Move around. And the right hand with everything. Throw the hand with power. Move around, lateral movements. And the right hand.
Chess is a substitute for war, and right now we are seeing a chess match.
CompuBox numbers in round 2. Again, almost dead even. Morales 19 out of 50. Barrera 16 out of 50. Little to choose between the two fighters in rounds 1 and 2.
I like it when Barrera starts trying to be the boxer, moving away. Morales attacks him. Though he's the boxer, he still goes on the attack.
Advantage whom?
Morales, because this is a point system. Every round is going to count. Judges are looking at each round.
And the aggressor normally has the advantage, particularly here in Las Vegas. Hard right hand counter by Barrera as Morales leaned over again. Different judging panel tonight than was the case the first time around. Dwayne Ford, the only judge who comes back. He was the one who scored the fight for Barrera. They trade shots. Barrera with a right hand to the body. Morales with a right hand upstairs. An alternative universe. An entirely different fight than the first time around. A right cross lands down the middle for Barrera.
Morales is initiating all of the contact. He hits him and Barrera pays him back. Misses a shot. He doesn't even try to get his balance back. He continues on trying to land that shot that he intended to land originally, even if he's off balance.
And that's when Barrera pops him. Barrera taking advantage.
You want to grab the real estate and keep it. And that's what Morales does.
Morales chasing Barrera across the ring. Barrera cautiously staying away. Morales derided Barrera for coming into the fight is his style. He says, he never attacks me, he just waits. So far in the first few rounds, Morales is right. Barrera waiting on him. And Barrera snapping the jab as Morales comes forward. fighters seem to be trying to conserve energy for the long haul, and Barrera may be conserving a little more with his stop.
A little more jab. Jab. And you're going to stop him when you hit him with the jab. We're doing well. Your left hand. That's what you need. When he comes in, it's going to be the jab. Deep breath now. You got to put pressure on him. He's going to go. You're going to score a knockdown. Let's press you more. Let's be more aggressive. Don't give him a chance.
So far, we haven't had much drama in this fight. A collision of heads. No consequence.
No, the biggest difference numerically between this fight and the first is that Erik Morales, for the moment, is throwing 30 punches fewer per round than was the case 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago at this time, he had thrown 89 more punches than he has launched tonight, clearly trying to conserve energy for the later rounds. Harold Letterman, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, I got a 29-28, 2 rounds to 1, Erik Morales. You know, I always thought of Marco Antonio Barrera as a walking bagger, flat-footed, hard hitter, great left hooker. I'm not used to him just running away like this, circling constantly, backing up, you know, moving to either side, flicking out an occasional jab. I like the aggressiveness of Erik Morales so far. I thought he's won rounds 1 and 3 on the aggressiveness you're looking at right now. Barrera just backing away, not getting flat-footed, not landing the hard shots.
I have it 1 round apiece and 1 even.
I like Morales. He keeps that. He drops it a little bit. The left hand. He pays, but he keeps his right hand right up by the chin.
Right now, it appears that neither fighter wants to go through the hell of their first fight.
No question.
No, Morales is trying his best to pick a fight. Just not happening back.
I think there's no question that Erik would like the pace of the first fight and the aggression of the first fight more than would Marco Antonio. Marco Antonio has added some wrinkles to his game in the 2.5 intervening years, and they give him some options that maybe he didn't have then.
But you can see Morales definitely want to fight. He doesn't let it breathe. This guy gets away from him.
Barrera, who used to put so much on every punch, throwing a lot of just simple arm shots.
Yeah, he's trying to conserve his energy as he realizes this fight can get out of control.
And he's landing for the sake of landing and keeping things under control.
Barrera want to pick the fight up in the middle rounds. It's when it get hard to think that the judges can give you the fight if you win the last 3 rounds.
When Erik Morales really gets it going, I call him the Air Force, because so much of the offense comes straight over the top. And there's a big left hook upstairs. Best punch of the fight for Morales. He tries to follow up behind it. Box! Morales landed those 2 right hands toward the end of the first round, and now this left hook. Barrera blocks a right hand shot there. A right hand for Barrera.
Morales better be careful. You don't follow a boxer around, a puncher around with your hands down.
You're looking at videotape of Barrera Morales 2 from 1 week ago in Las Vegas. At ringside tonight in Atlantic City at the Taj Mahal Hotel on the boardwalk, we'll be bringing you live coverage of the heavyweight bout between Ray Mercer of the United States, 41 years old, but perhaps in his best shape in recent years, as he gets ready to try to slam the door on Vladimir Klitschko of Ukraine. Klitschko trying to get in position to challenge Lennox Lewis for the heavyweight crown. It's coming up on Boxing After Dark when we bring you live to Atlantic City after Las Vegas. As round 5 begins, Marco Antonio Barrera with his cautious early fight plan may have given Erik Morales a solid early lead on the scorecards, as Morales has been the aggressor and has seized the initiative so far in the fight.
We have seen Barrera become more of a versatile boxer puncher over the last couple of years. The question here is whether that's the right style for this fight. He was successful with his other style. He's not being successful now.
What happened in the first boxing match, Morales did not expect to get what he got out of Barrera. This is a different day. These guys have ultra respect, and this Morales is using his height, keeping his hands up when he's attacked. He has respect, and that changed everything.
Stop! Don't hit and hold. There are faint boos around the arena. Probably boos from the Tijuanans here to support Morales, and disturbed that Barrera is fighting such a cautious and passive fight. If they're not getting the warfare they might have wanted. Morales reaching and landing with the right hand. And a chopping right hand for Barrera.
Barrera's going back to the old habits of dropping his hands as he moves back. That's been the problem. That was a problem in the first fight. After the exchange, he gets hit.
Marco Antonio doesn't feel, it seems as though he has to land the combination until Morales lands something against him. Now he throws a three-punch combination.
A far cry from the 5th round of the first fight.
Stop! Let go, don't punch. Box. Locked. Good left hand to the body. Nady says keep it up. But the effect is there.
The first fight was when we were fools. This fight is now that we are millionaires.
Well said, George. They're fighting like guys with a lot more money in the bank.
I'm telling you, that $1 million purse, I'd like one of those.
Erik Morales stalking and attacking with the right hand. Barrera being forced to fight. Confused by the tapping of the 10-second board, Morales stopped. Now he tries to come back, and suddenly the fight breaks out. That's what this crowd was looking for.
I don't think any of that amounted to a whole lot, but at least there was some drama in it.
It amounted to a lot. It tells you don't turn your back on Barrera.
No mercy.
Deep breath through the mouth, please. Come on, very intelligent.
Hard round to score, and a critical round, because if Barrera lost it, he might be down 4 rounds to 1 early.
What's the matter? What's the matter? You're not doing too much in the first half. Come on, we gotta go. We gotta do something. We gotta do it.
Odd that an experienced fighter like Morales would be confused by the 10-second warning, but he was. Perhaps that woke up Barrera, because he seems to have been in a tactical trance for the last couple of rounds.
Barrera landed only 8 of 37 punches in the round. Morales 15 out of 49. You can see that Harold Letterman already has Morales winning 4 of the first 5 rounds in the fight. Barrera starts to dig that left hand to the body.
Barrera looks like he's ready now to go to work. He realizes that
Barrera lost his temper that Morales turned his back on him. Now he's mad.
How dare you try not to fight me in the middle of a round? But he hadn't fought that way up to that moment. Now Barrera starting to come forward and attack. Stop! Break!
That's what we haven't seen all night, is Morales with his back on the rope. You don't want that now.
Ebb and flow, shifting tides of fortune. Barrera feeling some sense of urgency after a relatively passive first 5 rounds, starts to come ahead.
Morales has been very successful about keeping his back off the rope.
Good right hand by Barrera. Morales dropping his hands. Marco Antonio taking advantage. Morales looks at Jay Nady as if to say, he's still hitting me low. Nady says, go back and fight.
He won, Barrera. Barrera is playing the part of the counterpuncher now. Left uppercut if you hit me with your jab, to try to make him stop throwing his jab to the body. Morales does well if he keeps this a boxing match, keeps his hands up, get that jab going.
Different fight now than it was in the first 5 rounds. Look at Barrera shortening the distance and unloading the left hand. It's a fight now. And Morales seemingly a little back on his heels as Barrera totally changes his tactics.
He's waiting for that 10-second warning.
Uppercut lands for Barrera.
Right hand
for Morales.
You're going to see something once they clap those sticks together. Barrera gets hungry.
There are the sticks. 10 seconds to go. Let's see if either fighter flurries to try to steal a close round. Barrera is the aggressor in round 6.
You can't go back. You can't go back. You can't work backwards. Don't lower your hands. When you pressure, he doesn't need nothing. Dry his gloves. They're wet. Put some water in his balls. Come on. You got a jab, move lateral. Yeah, you got to be loose and strong.
Barrera getting a little bit rough in here. He has to fight a rougher fight. He's been staying at a distance. The way he fought so brilliantly 2.5 years ago was simply by jumping into Morales' face and taking advantage of the fact that Morales throws longer punches.
It may not have looked that way, but CompuBox numbers heavily favored Morales in round number 6. He landed 25 out of 58 punches to 13 out of 45 for Barrera. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim. You know, in rounds 3, 4, and 5, Marco Antonio Barrera was on his toes running away as I saw it. But in round 6, I don't give a darn how many punches he landed. He went flat-footed. He was the old Marco Antonio Barrera, and he landed with power. So I gave him the 6th round. I'm also giving him the 2nd round. 4 rounds to 2. Erik Morales, 58-56 in points. But Barrera, when he goes flat-footed, is coming on.
This is the 6th fight that Erik Morales has had since their first meeting in Feb 2000. And this is by far the best Morales has looked in any of those 6 fights. That's what his fans and supporters predicted.
His corner has warned him, Morales, don't fight backing up. You can't do it that way. He's got to keep that fight coming to Barrera.
Well, if they're both going to go forward, then the combustion is coming.
No, you circle. You make a circle. Get in a circle. Can't be straight back.
Barrera hurt Morales with the right hand upstairs. Morales comes right back with a left and right combination. Barrera sharp again with the right hand. Morales takes advantage as Barrera's off balance. Hard body shot down, and it's not going to be ruled a knockdown. Jay Nady's going to call it a slip. Looked for a moment like a knockdown on a body shot.
Nady, I believed that Barrera was simply off balance. It could have been scored a knockdown.
Jay Nady is one of the best. I can give you that.
He pointed to the feet as if to say that Morales had his foot on Barrera's shoe.
Well, Barrera's got to know that he's got to keep that fight on the rope.
He seems momentarily unnerved by that turn of events, and Morales landed a big 1-2. This is the best round of the fight so far. They have both had their moments.
That's an excellent jab that Morales does not use enough.
And he's beating Barrera to the punch with it, stopping Marco Antonio before he can start his attack. They trade shots at close range again.
How come you're opening your mouth? Come on. Give me the end swell. I gotta do something.
Step on his foot.
Come on, you gotta be loose. Deep breaths. Come on. Okay, it's round 8 coming up. You got to fight all the way.
Barrera is trying to seize the initiative, landed a good right hand, perhaps his best punch of the fight, and later he went down. I don't see any reason that should not have been called a knockdown. There was a slight brush of the feet, so Nagy, give him credit. He caught it.
That was a slip. That was a slip.
Morales with a 12-7 edge in power connects in the 7th round. Barrera has been economical, and therefore Morales has thrown and landed more through the first 7 rounds of the fight.
The referee knows these fighters, and he understands that you're not going to just knock a Barrera down with a body shot like that. There has to be something involved, and he's at the heels.
5 rounds to go, and it would appear that Morales might have a working margin on the scorecards. And he chases Barrera around the ring. Barrera seeming to allow Morales to use some energy. Unfurls that big left hook.
That punch landed on the ear of Morales and seemed to bother him.
Morales is just surprised that he can win a boxing match tonight. It's out there for him. All he has to do is take the initiative, go out and win a boxing match. Barrera is not going to slug it out and fight with him. You're going to have to take it by points.
Why shouldn't Barrera slug it out with him?
He just, for some reason, has decided he doesn't want to do it.
All right, well, then we're finding out that some of the pieces that were left in the ring of themselves 2.5 years ago are still there, that they have not fully recovered. They don't want to go through that kind of grind and punishment again.
Morales is interested. He's very interested.
Everybody thought it was Morales who might have had trouble recovering from the first fight. Maybe the change in Barrera's style isn't conducive to going to war against Erik Morales. No knockdown there. Barrera cannot afford a point deduction.
The referee understands that this is a very important fight, and he does not want to be pushed in a position where he's going to decide who's the winner. But he wants the fight to be fought out in the ring. That's great move by the referee.
Jay Nady's had 2 previous big fights. Costasu against Zab Judah. And prior to that, he was the referee for Fernando Vargas against Felix Trinidad here.
Another right hand to the body by Morales.
And once again, Barrera goes back to the passive style that he demonstrated in the first 5 rounds.
So far, we've worked ourselves up to this fight for nothing.
Hey, these guys get paid to box. Larry, don't blame them because they have a brain.
I wouldn't exactly call it
10 man.
I wouldn't exactly call it nothing. Just because it isn't what it was 2.5 years ago doesn't mean it's nothing. It's something now as Barrera lands 3 vicious hard shots. A left and a right.
Go for for it.
Barrera's fully engaged now, and he probably won the round with that vicious flurry toward the end.
That's it, Marco. You got him now. Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, you got him now. You're the one that's healthy. I feel good. I feel real good.
Tira tu golpeo. Tira tu golpeo. Ponte confianza.
You know what we worked on? Ninth round. Come on, don't be overconfident now. Be careful. But you got to throw it. We got enough conditioning. We got enough stamina. Go for it.
There's a cut on Morales' right eye. It was ruled that it happened by a punch.
Happened toward the end of the round when Barrera landed that big left hook.
Second down.
Morales with the edge and power shots landed through the 8th round. 74-48 by CompuBox numbers. Barrera landing the bigger punches now as we come into the 9th.
Morales' right eye seems to be closing.
And he's on the defensive as Barrera tries to attack again.
Barrera's got control of the fight. He got to take it. Don't wait around and allow this guy to get his courage.
Great counter left hand by Barrera. Blocked Morales' shots and caught him with that little hook. Morales is once again stunned, and now he lands a big right hand. Stop!
Good short left hand inside, almost out of view by Barrera. Blood now from the mouth of Morales, I believe.
And the right eye is swelling shut. If Morales' right eye swells shut, Barrera will load up more on the left hook. Chopping right hand by Barrera.
Morales is trying to keep his movement to the left. You can watch things better that way. That right eye probably causing him some visions problem, so he's not moving over to the right. Keep it to the left. Keep everything to the left.
We've seen 3 different fights so far. The tactical introduction, the boxing match dominated by Morales, and now for the last 2 rounds, the slugging match begins, and Barrera's winning that. Sharp combination by Barrera. Morales' activity level way down. The Mexico City fighter taking over. Stop!
Well, it's not nothing now, George.
Now the country boy takes over.
Yep, Erik Morales coming right back with left-right combinations.
But that eye is going to cause him a little too many problems right now.
Yep, the blood is starting to flow again from the corner of the eye. Look at the courage of Morales as he backs off and lands another shot.
Now the corner man plays. How much do you pay these guys? And for what reason?
Well, Erik Morales has Miguel Diaz in his corner, one of the very best. He's got a job to do in these last 3 rounds coming up. Hard right hand and another left by Barrera. Big shot. Erik Morales taking a lot of punishment in this round.
You're not throwing enough. You got to be more aggressive. What's the matter? Hey, don't be overconfident. The referee's not helping us any. The headbutts, he didn't count. He's not doing nothing. Don't let him get away with anything. Put some pressure on him. Come on, don't lower your hands. Come on, we got to get going. Let's go all the way. Go all out. You want the win? You want the revenge? Go for it. Let's go for it. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Come on, he's got nothing left, so go for it. You got to throw more.
Blood, sangre is drama. Now we have drama.
How do you have it scored through 9 rounds?
Okay, Jim, after giving up an awful lot of those early rounds, Marco Antonio Barrera has won 3 out of the last 4. I got an 86-85, 5 rounds to 4. Erik Morales, but that's Asia. I don't think Erik Morales can see Barrera's left hand coming. I think that Rana is just about shut. Marco Antonio Barrera, I think, is going to take control of this fight.
I have it 4 rounds to 4, 1 even, an even fight.
Straight right hand for Morales. He's been much better in the first minute of this 10th round. Morales coming back and establishing yet again his imprint on the fight. George, it's a brave performance by the Tijuana fighter. Big left hook by Morales.
You got to understand that Barrera was in reserve for the first 5 rounds. He didn't throw anything, so now he's using his reserve. Morales, of course, has made him use some. Now he can pick up the pace.
Almost as though Barrera fought the first 5 rounds under wraps.
Waiting. So now he has some energy in reserve, but now they're evenly winded. Both guys are tired now. They both expelled some energy.
But the difference in the fight may turn out to be that right eye.
The good thing about Morales, he's accustomed to fighting swollen and cut eyes.
He's going to have to fight. He's going to have to fight back and try to keep Barrera on the defensive. That's the best way to protect his eye. Big right hand by Morales.
Keep in mind that Morales was much more marked up than Barrera in the first fight, and he won it.
A courageous 10th round here by Erik Morales, who has reestablished his initiative in the fight once again. Good body shot by Morales. Left hook, right cross. Barrera on the defensive again. Now Marco comes back. Almost went down.
Stop! That J Lady is strong, isn't he? Just move your hand.
Heavyweight.
That's the kind of referee I like to see.
Morales had to turn the tide around, and he has done it in this round.
Man, what the corner will do with his eye. Barrera is trying to take a breather. He's throwing a lot of shots. It's up to Morales now to keep the pressure on him. Don't let him breathe. Now he's allowed him rest, and that's when his trouble starts.
In a close fight, Barrera seems to have taken a lot of the 10th round off, and Morales regains a foothold.
Okay, here, hold this for me. Hold this down. Put a lot of water. We're fighting. 2 more rounds to go. You see that it hurt him? You gotta finish him off. You gotta throw those straight right hands. That referee is allowing him to do whatever he wants. Well, he's not gonna do all that. He's cut, he can't see. We got him now. We got it now. Pressure him. With a lot of pressure. Pressure him. You got it, you son of a gun.
Seconds out.
The first fight was an action-adventure movie. This fight is more of a drama, changes in fortune. The bad eye of Morales suddenly playing into a different kind of narrative.
Could become a suspense thriller. Power shots in round 10. Morales landed 23 of 51. Barrera 4 of 17. It was clearly Erik Morales' comeback round.
Now he's taking the jabs, allowing Barrera to start jabbing him. You don't want that.
Tremendous counterpunching by Morales. He can certainly still see out of the left eye. Big shot by
He hit him behind the head. He hit him behind the head.
He did indeed.
the referee to say something, but they're not going to help you.
Yeah, but he ducked his head all the way down right in front of him, George.
Barrera seems focused on trying to win the 11th round, which would shorten the margin on the scorecards once again, the way we see it. Chopping right hand by Barrera there. Good combo by Morales. Big right hand by Barrera. Trading shots.
That Barrera is strong as an ox.
He's been down against Kennedy McKinney, Agapito Sanchez, and he was knocked out by Junior Jones. But in recent fights, Barrera's had an iron chin.
That's that backing away with your hands down by Morales again. Got to keep your hands up if you back away.
Pretty even round. They both landed some shots. Barrera's been the aggressor.
Straight right hand.
Don't grab his head like a base off.
These guys have expressed so much hate for one another. And that's why the referee has seen that, although they didn't mess up their strategy at all, they have that much hate for one another, and yet keep your hands up and play the game of boxing.
Into the corner.
Stop!
Barrera trying to apply more damage to Morales' right eye. Tough round to score. But if Barrera has won that round, then the fight may be on the table in the 12th.
One more.
You got to control it all. You got to hit it all. I think we're losing. I think we're losing. We need to win the round.
Ya, Marco, tú eres muy bueno. Eres un maestro.
Olvídate del balde, olvídate.
Give me some water.
Last round. Come on. Low time infraction. Low blow. Feet in the back, please.
La última, ¿qué es? Tienes que noquearlo en este round.
You got to knock him down.
Tienes que noquearlo. Quiero que salga tú a presionarlo desde el principio.
Okay, I want you to come at him. Put pressure on him. Everything. Give it all. Give it all. Don't hold anything back.
Vámonos del último,
Don't leave nothing for tomorrow. Throw it all.
Judges at ringside. Chuck Giampa of Las Vegas, Wayne Ford of Las Vegas, Mike Liana of Illinois. In the 11th round, Barrera by CompuBox numbers flew more, landed more power shots. Fight may be on the table here. Harold, how do you have it?
I don't know, Jim. 106, 103. Erik Morales. Jim, I tell you something. In the 11th round, Erik Morales certainly had that right eye closed, and a lot of times Marco was swinging it in. I mean, Erik was moving around it, and Marco was missing him. I get that round to Erik also. I think he's got a 7-4 lead. 106, 103.
You heard Barrera's corner telling him they thought he was behind. He seems to be trying for a big round or maybe the knockout.
On my card, Barrera needs a knockdown to have a chance to win the fight.
You got to admit, we're watching this great fight, but it was Larry Merchant who never stopped talking about the rematch. And that's why that fight has happened.
You think I brought in these 13 or 14,000 people in
Oh, yes, you did.
Big right hand by Barrera. Stuns Morales. He hits him in the mouth again. What a chin Erik Morales shows against this assault. Barrera has landed a half-dozen big shots since the start of the round. Barrera looking for a 10-8 round.
Maybe if he'd have fought some of the early rounds this way, he wouldn't need it.
Amen.
And there's the Morales rally. Morales takes a chance when he does this. He opens himself up to big counters.
As long as he keeps his head on Barrera's chest, he's out of harm's way. Just don't back away. Don't back away.
And don't duck for where Barrera can hit him with the left hook. Hard right hand by Morales. Barrera continues to attack. Down the stretch they come. We're going to let the last minute play in the clear.
No, stop. Box.
This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Pride, honor, revenge. Mexican boxing at its best.
Was it too much, too late for Barrera?
And while Morales' supporters loft him onto their shoulders and parade him around the ring, Marco Antonio Barrera still has his feet on the canvas and seems mildly disappointed. In the 12th round, by CompuBox numbers, Barrera landed 38 of 88, by far his biggest round of the fight, a 33-15 edge in Power Connect.
If you stay back and you hold off for 5 rounds like that, you got to go for a knockout. He didn't get a knockout tonight, all because he waited too long.
Nobody's ever knocked Erik Morales out, and maybe nobody ever will. Despite the seemingly skinny frame, Morales has an iron chin. All right, they wait for the decision again. Let's go to Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, the 2 best featherweights in the world came into the ring, but now only one will leave as the very best. We go to the Budweiser scorecards. Chuck Champa scores the contest 116 to 112. Mike Liana and Dwayne Ford have it 115 to 113. All for the winner by unanimous decision. De Ciudad de Mexico, Marco Antonio Barrera.
What a reversal. For 2.5 years, Marco Antonio Barrera's constituents have complained about the decision in the first fight. Now it's time for Morales' people to lodge the same complaint.
That's right, poetic justice. Now the shoe is on the other foot.
And Morales bolts out of the ring without sticking around for any post-fight conversation. Morales is running to the dressing room, infuriated by the decision. Erik Morales must feel like he can't get a break against Marco Antonio Barrera. When he won the fight the first time around, virtually nobody gave him credit for it. This time he loses on a night when it appeared he deserved a better fate. And now let's go to Larry Merchant in the ring with Barrera.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. Congratulations, Marco Antonio. Your corner said they thought you were losing in the late rounds. Did you think you were behind?
Tu esquina pensaba que tú estabas perdiendo en los últimos rounds. ¿Tú crees que estabas perdiendo?
Bueno, yo trabajé para boxearlo. Como lo dije, voy a pelear más inteligente. No hubieron tantos golpes como la vez pasada, pero tomamos la iniciativa todo el tiempo.
Yeah. I worked to outbox him. I knew I could outbox him. It was a close fight, and I did my job.
Did you come into this fight determined just to outbox him? Because it seemed in the first half of the fight that you were not as effective as you had been when you had been fighting him in the first fight.
Tú viniste a esta pelea determinado a que lo ibas a boxear, porque en la primera parte de la pelea actualmente no estabas tirando mucho golpe, estabas boxeando mucho.
Esa era la idea porque su plan de él era que agarrarme como cuando yo entraba, como fue en la primera pelea, me estuvo contragolpeando, entonces lo tuvimos que boxear a mi distancia.
That was the plan, to come in and outbox him because he would grab me when I would rush him and he would be a counter puncher. So my plan was to outbox him.
Tell us, do you think that there were any words between you during the fight? Between you and Morales?
¿Hubieron algunas palabras entre tú y Morales durante la pelea?
Pues sí, él me dijo una grosería. No me acuerdo en qué round me empezó a decirme la pelas, no sé qué se deba a eso, pero no perdimos la calma y seguimos boxeando como estuvimos estudiando.
Yes, there was a few words in one of the rounds. He did insult me somewhat by saying some gross things, but I kept my cool and won the fight.
After having stormed out of the ring upon hearing the decision, Erik Morales later returned and spoke to Larry Merchant.
Erik, why was this fight for the first half a boxing contest?
¿Por qué fue esta pelea para la primera mitad una cosa de boxeo nada más?
Bueno, yo vine a trabajar. Él, creo yo, se guardó hasta el último, creyendo que yo no había entrenado, yo no había hecho lo necesario para llegar a esta pelea. Yo hice mi trabajo bien, de inicio hasta el 10º round, trabajé bastante bien, creo que iba round a round ganando, uno que otro lo perdí. Los dos últimos presionó bien, fueron divididos, pero creo que hice un gran trabajo y creo que gané la pelea.
I came to well prepared to do outbox him. I guess he reserved himself for the end, but I was still doing well round by round at the end. I still think I won the fight.
Tell us how much your bad eye affected the fight in the last rounds.
Dino, ¿cuánto de tu ojo que está herido te afectó en la pelea?
Bueno, al último ya, porque algo me cubría y me estuve tallando varias veces, no podía ver, pero estuve manejando bien con el jab abajo, buena derecha abajo. Creo que cuando lo tumbé fue un buen golpe, antes fue un buen golpe, pero bueno, así pasan las cosas. Creo en Dios y creo que Dios es justo, y si ellos creen que no gané, bueno.
The eye affected me a little bit. I can hardly see, but I still thought I did enough. I controlled the fight. If it's going to be some justice, if they thought they won the fight, well, so be it.
Do you feel that because of the controversial nature of the first fight decision, that they wanted to give it to Barrera to even it up?
¿Piensas tú, porque tú recibiste la decisión la otra vez, cuando fue la pelea muy controversial, que esta vez querían empatar la cosa, igualarla, para dársela a él?
No lo sé. Aquella vez yo presioné, yo hice el trabajo. Esta vez yo volví a hacer el trabajo, yo presioné, yo fui adelante tirando golpes. Creo que, como te digo, las cosas pasan. ¿Qué puedo hacer yo?
I don't know if that's the case, but in the first fight, I pressured the fight. I did the same thing in this fight. What can you do?
Should there be a third fight?
¿Debe haber una tercera pelea?
Depende de, yo no sé, vamos a platicar, vamos a ver qué dice Arum, vamos a ver qué pasó, qué sucedió. Y pues ni modo, y antes que nada, pues quiero mandarle un saludo a toda la gente, creo que no los defraudé, hice mi trabajo, un saludo a José Suleiman y a toda la gente que me apoyó para llegar a esta pelea.
Probably so. I'm not sure. I'm going to speak to Barrera. I think I did my job. I hope I didn't disappoint the public. Mr. Suleiman, I did my job, and I thought I won it.
Thank you very much, Erik, for coming back out. And now to you, Jim.
First loss of Erik Morales' career, and George, here's my point. On the night when Oscar De La Hoya lost to Felix Trinidad, and he appeared to many of us to win the first 7 rounds of the fight, none of the 3 judges gave him credit for having done so. Tonight, Erik Morales might have won 5 of the first 6 rounds of this fight. None of the 3 judges gave him credit for it, but they did give Barrera 5 of the last 6. My point is, if you're going to win half a fight, win the second half.
The point is, Erik Morales, he won that fight tonight, and there's no diplomatic fashion you can explain it away. He outpointed him, and then when it came time to fight, he fought better too. it'll go down in the record book as a loss for Morales, but the fans should be well encouraged. This boy has got the stuff.
And as you said, poetic justice, because 2.5 years ago we would have stood here and said to you, Barrera won the fight and didn't get the decision.
Barrera is a fine fighter also.
Oh, but they're
Can't
both
take
terrific.
anything away from him.
They're both terrific. And as I say, you know, maybe the first half of the fight was tactical, but no less exciting to my eyes because you watched two great fighters searching for a way to win the fight.
I was so excited during that fight.
And the last half of the fight was sensational. Let's take a look at the final CompuBox numbers, and you will see that they landed an almost equal number of punches. They threw an almost equal number of punches, and they landed at exactly the same connect percentage. Good enough? Power punches. Here's where Morales had a small edge, landing 135 to 117. Throwing 5 more, landing at a slightly higher connect percentage. Again, a tiny statistical margin, but a margin nevertheless. Larry, your final thoughts on a tumultuous evening here?
Well, I think that finally the Supreme Court got it right. It got it right in the sense that 2 injustices equal a justice. The way these two fellows fought 2 times, 24 rounds, neither one deserved to have an edge over the other. Both deserve to have a victory apiece. Let's see a third fight.
Yeah, well, maybe they will indeed engage in a third fight. Yesterday, I asked Marco Antonio Barrera, what's better, to have walked away with the W and have nobody say that you won the fight, or to have walked away the way you did with an official loss on the record and have everybody say that you were better than you've ever been before? Tomorrow, maybe we ask the same question of Morales. Boxing is funny that way. Sometimes the drama leaves you with questions at the end, but there's no shortage of drama, nevertheless. Let's go back up to James Brown.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. And, wow, Emmanuel, let me just be very candid with you. One injustice in no way suggests that another injustice should be served up. I got to be brutally honest. I agree with George Foreman. What fight were the officials looking at in the first half of this fight, Emmanuel?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely felt that Morales had won the fight. And, you know, it's really getting to be so bizarre. That's why I really love knockouts, if you can get them. But maybe that's not the case. And a good case was also going back with George himself when he fought a guy named Axel Schultz. Perfect example. I was sitting next to Bob Arum. When the fight concluded, Bob Arum asked me, who do you think won the fight? I said, well, Schultz won the fight because the crowd was on their feet. They was screaming and hollering in the last part because everybody remembers the last part of a fight. And George's eye was swollen up and everything. And then when I added up my scorecard, I came up with George Foreman winning the fight. Exactly what the judges came up with. Some rounds are not as exciting as other rounds, but there's a winner and there's a loser. But tonight, I thought it was Morales' night. He fought a tall, upright, European-type style that really had Barrera uncoordinated. And Barrera didn't really seem to expend himself as much as I thought he should have. He primarily fought about 3 or 4 rounds of the fight. And I thought that Morales won the fight. But nevertheless, maybe they have another rematch. Hope that someone knocks someone out the next fight.
You made a point when we were talking about the fight throughout that Morales was displaying a style that was atypical through the first 4 or 5 rounds that seemed to us to be effective. That style was what?
Yes. He was using a European style, fighting upright, really utilizing his height. He made his height really be a factor in this fight, and actually had Barrera lunging when he would fight, compared to before when they fought in close. And I thought Barrera was very relaxed with that instead of being more excited. Maybe he knew something that we didn't know.
All right. Emmanuel, thank you very much. And perhaps I would suggest that maybe exit polls ought to be a part of the judge's decision as well, because in each fight, I think the outcome certainly would have been reversed. All right, folks, Morales versus Barrera has been brought to you by MGM Grand, the city of entertainment. Brewery Fresh Budweiser, the undefeated king of beers, this Bud's for you. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by the folks at HBO. We'd also like to thank our internet partners and the following magazine partners. And so for all of us here at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas,